Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into a really complex and, frankly, uncomfortable topic.
Yeah.
Sexual misconduct allegations against high-profile professional athletes. We're seeing this particularly in the NFL.
Yeah, and these cases, they often seem to raise more questions than answers, especially around accountability.
Exactly. So our focus today is unpacking the recent controversies around NFL stars Deshaun Watson and Justin Tucker. Both were accused by massage therapists.
Right. Two very different cases in some ways, but with some unsettling overlaps.
Our mission here is to really navigate the details of these allegations, look at how the NFL's own personal conduct policy factors in, and importantly, put it all in the wider context of the massage therapy profession itself.
And we've got a good stack of sources to help us sort of piece together what's really going on.
Trying to give you a clear picture without it feeling, overwhelming.
It's a lot to unpack, definitely. But what you see pretty quickly is how these individual stories really highlight bigger systemic issues.
Issues in how we pursue accountability, right?
Yeah.
Both in the courts and inside powerful organizations like the NFL.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's start with Deshaun Watson. I mean, he's a top quarterback, and his career was significantly impacted. He basically sat out a whole season because of these allegations.
That's right. It started with 22 women filing civil complaints, all licensed massage therapists.
And he apparently reached out to them directly through Instagram.
Yeah, that's what was alleged. And the accusations themselves were serious groping, fondling, other unwanted sexual contact during appointments.
Now, a really crucial point here, legally speaking, is that a grand jury looked at this, but they declined to indict him on criminal charges.
Correct. So no criminal prosecution. It remained in the realm of civil allegations.
Which makes what happened next even more, controversial. The Cleveland Browns gave him this massive contract.
Massive is right. A record-breaking $230 million fully guaranteed.
And the structure of that deal was interesting, wasn't it?
Very. The first year, 2022, his base salary was really low, like around $1 million.
Which seemed designed
to minimize the financial hit if he got suspended by the NFL. If your salary's low, the game checks you forfeit are also low. It definitely raised eyebrows.
It suggests a way to sort of work around the potential consequences from the league's own system.
You could certainly see it that way. And meanwhile, Watson and his legal team kept arguing, no criminal charges, so he should be allowed to play.
But the NFL's investigation was still technically open.
It was. They'd interviewed, I think, at least 10 of the women, though reportedly months had passed since the last interviews, and they hadn't yet interviewed Watson himself at that point.
And this is where the commissioner's power comes in, right? Roger Goodell.
Exactly. He has the authority under the personal conduct policy to suspend players, even if there are no criminal charges. That power is a big deal.
It's sort of the NFL's own internal justice system.
Right, which they strengthened quite a bit after some earlier high-profile incidents.
The reaction from fans seemed really split.
Oh, definitely. You had a lot of frustration, particularly female fans, some saying they were done with the team, done with the league even.
But then others were just focused on winning, wanting the star quarterback regardless.
Yeah, it really exposed that tension. And it led some observers to say, maybe the NFL isn't any better equipped to handle these kinds of crimes against women than society is overall.
That's a sobering thought. It points to the limitations, maybe, of these internal systems.
For sure.
Okay, so building on that complex picture with Watson, let's turn to the more recent allegations involving Justin Tucker.
Right, Justin Tucker. Known universally as, one of the best kickers ever in the NFL, a very different kind of profile.
And he faced accusations, too, reported initially by the Baltimore Banner. 6 massage therapists at first.
Yes, alleging incidents between 2012 and 2016. Things like exposing himself, rubbing his genitals, even leaving ejaculate on tables, really disturbing claims.
And some spas actually banned him.
According to the reporting, yes, 2 spas allegedly told him not to come back because of his behavior.
Tucker's response, though, was forceful, very different from Watson's initial approach.
Extremely forceful. He called the allegations unequivocally false, desperate tabloid fodder, really strong language.
He basically accused the newspaper of twisting things.
Yeah, he said the article took innocuous or ambiguous interactions and skewed them. He flat out accused them of journalistic failures.
And he threatened legal action?
He did. He hired a prominent defamation law firm and signaled he was considering suing the Baltimore Banner. So a very aggressive defense.
Meanwhile, you hear from the accusers about the impact on them.
Yeah, the emotional toll. One therapist quoted described his alleged behavior as really degrading. Another said, I can't watch sports anymore. I see his face everywhere.
That's rough. And some stopped working with him.
Some ended sessions early, yeah, or just refused future appointments.
So the NFL gets wind of this from the reporter. What happens then?
They say they'll look into it. And this is where the differences from the Watson case, at least initially, become clear. With Tucker, there were no active civil lawsuits or criminal charges filed by these accusers.
Which means the NFL could theoretically start interviewing people right away.
Right. No pending legal cases to potentially delay or complicate their internal investigation.
But they still face that big limitation we talked about, no subpoena power.
Exactly. Their court system, so to speak, relies entirely on people choosing to cooperate. They can't force anyone to talk.
And that opens the door for settlements.
Potentially, yes. This is a really interesting dynamic. A player could reach a financial settlement with an alleged victim, and often those settlements include strict confidentiality agreements, NDAs.
Which would then prevent the victim from talking to the NFL investigators.
Correct. We actually saw that happen with one of the later claims against Deshaun Watson. A settlement was reached, and the confidentiality clause meant she couldn't cooperate with the league's probe.
So settling becomes almost like a strategic move for the player.
It can be. Even if the time limit, the statute of limitations, has passed for filing a lawsuit, offering a settlement could be seen as a, quote, smart way to make the whole thing just go away quietly.
It removes the pressure, the investigation stalls.
It can, yeah. It's a business or legal tactic as much as anything else.
So where did the NFL land with Tucker?
Ultimately, they suspended him for the first 10 weeks of the 2025 season.
And by that point, more accusers had come forward.
Considerably more. The final count mentioned was 16 massage therapists across 8 different spas.
16. Wow.
Yeah.
And Tucker's response to this suspension.
His representatives put out a statement, expressed disappointment, but said they accepted the resolution to, quote, put this difficult episode behind him and get back on the field.
Did he maintain his innocence?
Yes. The statement reiterated he stood by his innocence and also expressed respect for the massage therapy profession.
But at 35, after 13 years, a 10-week suspension, that puts his future in question, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Coming back from that, at his age, isn't guaranteed. And it's striking, too, because he's such a figure in Baltimore, the reliable kicker, the opera singer.
Yeah, the amateur opera singer thing adds another layer. A revered local figure facing these claims.
It really underscores that power dynamic between well-known clients and service providers.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the crucial next point. This isn't just about Watson or Tucker, or even just about the NFL.
Not at all. These cases really shine a spotlight on a much bigger issue within the massage therapy profession itself.
The sources we looked at suggest really high rates of harassment.
Shockingly high. Over half of all massage therapists, male and female, say they've experienced unwanted sexual advances from clients.
Over half. That's staggering. Is there more specific data?
Yeah, one survey found almost 74.8% experienced sexual harassment by clients.
75%.
And for over a quarter of them, 26.5%, it happened more than 3 times.
More than 3 times.
Verbal harassment was more common, about 55% than physical, which was 6%, but a third experienced both.
And it happens during the session itself, usually.
Overwhelmingly.
Wow.
87.9% of the incidents occurred during the treatment.
But here's the thing that really stood out to me. Almost 80% told someone, but only one person in that survey reported it to the police.
Yeah. 1. That statistic is incredibly telling.
Why do you think that is? Why such low reporting to authorities?
Well, it points to some deep-seated issues. There's the historical unfair association of massage with sex work, which creates shame and stigma. Professionals feel upset about that comparison.
Right, the perception issue.
And the setting itself, private room, partial or full nudity, it can be misinterpreted by some clients as, quote, sexually inviting.
Which is obviously not the intention.
Of course not, but it creates vulnerability. And then there's the fear, perhaps, that reporting won't be taken seriously, or it could hurt their business, lead to professional backlash. So their justice often becomes informal ending sessions, refusing clients.
And sometimes even that doesn't work, especially if the employer isn't supportive.
Exactly. There was that lawsuit in 2019, remember, against a San Diego resort.
Right, where therapists sued because the hotel allegedly kept letting VIP clients come back despite harassment complaints.
Yes, and allegedly deleted prior complaints because these were high-profile guests. One therapist got fired, the other quit. It shows how prioritizing profit or status over safety can happen.
It really puts the onus on the employer.
Definitely. And it highlights the vulnerability in these intimate service settings. The systems need to protect the providers, not enable the misconduct.
So what about solutions? We hear talk about things like panic buttons for staff. Is that the answer?
It's a tool, maybe, for immediate safety, but it's reactive, isn't it? It doesn't prevent the harassment itself.
True. So what's needed more broadly?
A much deeper awareness from employers about the real danger staff face, prioritizing safety over, the quick buck. That means clear, trusted reporting channels, actually enforcing bans on problem clients.
And maybe a cultural shift, both within the industry and among clients.
Absolutely. Treating massage therapy with the respect it deserves as a health profession, reinforcing boundaries, challenging those harmful stereotypes, it's a multifaceted problem.
It really is. So wrapping up this deep dive, it seems clear these NFL cases, while grabbing headlines, are really just visible examples of much broader systemic problems.
Yeah, problems of sexual misconduct in these kinds of private service industries, and the real challenges in achieving accountability legally, organizationally, culturally.
So here's something to think about as we finish. You have this inherent vulnerability in certain professional services. The intimacy, the privacy, the power imbalance.
Right.
Then you intersect that with high-profile figures, private settings, and a justice system, whether that's criminal, civil, or internal like the NFL's, that often seems to struggle with these dynamics. What does that mix truly mean for finding justice and ensuring safety for the people providing these essential services?
It's a heavy question, and one without easy answers, definitely something worth reflecting on.